The following is a production of Stevenson Media. H-Town, what it do? I am Nick Stevenson, the self-appointed president of Houston Sports Nation. That gentleman is Ruben Calvillo, Mr. 713. Welcome to, I don't even remember what episode of the Twin Toros podcast. Ruben, I realized I was giving us too much credit for too many episodes. I lost count already. So we're more than 38, less than 44, somewhere in between. I'll count them next time and I'll let you guys know.
I'll take it.
The good news is that we're doing our damn thing, man. And I appreciate you joining me today for this episode. And I appreciate all of you joining us. Let me remind you really quick before we get started, please follow Ruben at 713 Houston Sportscast. You just type in 713 Houston Sports on X, IG, TikTok, YouTube. You will find all of his content. He posts daily Houston Texans content. And then you can find me at Houston Sports State of the Union podcast on YouTube. I'm also on X, on TikTok. Find me on Instagram, Facebook, all the socials, man. I will make sure all of our links are in the description of this episode and in the show notes so you guys know where to find us. Ruben, the big news today. Deshaun Watson is engaged. How you feeling about it? Oh, I'm kidding.
Wish him the very best.
Stay out of the massage parlors, bro. You'll do all right. You'll be all right. No, the big news today is that Derek Stingley Jr. is the highest paid cornerback in the NFL thanks to a $90 million 3-year contract extension with $89 million guaranteed. I know you're on board with this move. You've been talking about Derek Stingley and how the Texans need to make him the highest paid corner in the league. And they have done that. And I think it makes it very clear what the whole Laramie Tunsil, getting rid of him, freeing up cap space was about. It's about signing their young guys that they've drafted recently and locking them down to make sure they're Houston Texans for a long period of time. Tell me how you're feeling about it, and what do you think the next move needs to be?
You know, I was ecstatic when I saw the news. I immediately started planning out, my shorts and videos because I've been just harping on this Derek Stingley extension, saying that it needs to get done this offseason because if you decide to wait and he has another all-pro year, you're not going to be able to afford him. However, we all knew that, it was going to get done this year. He mentioned it on the Pivot podcast with Ryan Clark, how he wanted to be in Houston forever, and him and the organization, they took a step forward in that direction. I love that he's the highest paid cornerback in the NFL. He absolutely deserves it. It's never been a matter of talent with Derek Stingley. We know even all the way back in LSU that he was special. It was whether or not he can give you a full season. And he showed you in 2024 that not only can he give you a full year worth of games, but he could give you a full year's worth of all-pro type of play. Derek Stingley won you a game in the regular season against the Miami Dolphins. I mean, you can say was, one of the big reasons why you blew out the Chargers. He had 2 interceptions himself. Derek Stingley deserves his contract. We have him here for the next 5 years. Ecstatic. This raises my free agency grade a couple points because you needed to get this done. And congratulations. And like he just posted on his Instagram just 2 minutes ago, this is how you celebrate it. And he had a couple of pounds of crawfish right in front of him.
Yeah, buddy. I tell you what, man, Derek Stingley's 23 years old. So he will be in the prime of his career as a Houston Texan. 23 years old. So I'm sorry, no, he's 25. Let me take that back.
I was like, if it's 23, dear God, we're gonna have him for a long time if healthy.
Let me find out his birthday. Hold on. He was born on 2001, so 24, 25, June of 2001. So he'll be 24 this year. So still, bro, I mean, he's gonna be playing for the Houston Texans during the prime of his career. And like you said, the only question mark for him is, can he stay healthy? And when he is healthy, I think the debate between him and Sauce Gardner has to be over by now. I know Sauce probably had the edge the first couple of years, but it was only because Derek was hurt. So
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go for it.
So we know that he's able to get an all pro. So that means he's probably able to get another. Let's say during this, 5 years we have Derek Stingley, he gets another 1 to 2 all pros. Are we talking about a potential Hall of Fame cornerback down the line?
Oh yeah, if he continues on the pace that he was on last year, for sure, 100%. What do you have? 6 interceptions.
Yeah, I think he had 5 and 2 in the playoffs.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, he continues on that, and I mean, the quarterback rating against him is ridiculous, bro. Like people, it's getting to the point where people don't even throw his way anymore, and that is how you become a
Throwing at
Darrell
another
Revis.
dog at corner.
Oh, I'm telling you, man.
Best secondary in the league.
You think so? I was gonna
Come
ask you
on
about
now.
that because right after our show was over, the Texans made another move where they traded they traded Kenyon Green for C.J. Gardner-Johnson, formerly of the Philadelphia Eagles, to shore up that safety position that we both talked about needed some help because of the fact that Jimmy Ward was getting old. We saw Jimmy Ward get busted coverage multiple times in the last couple of years. So when you add C.J. Gardner-Johnson, you've got Derek Stingley locked down. We know what Lassiter did next year. Hopefully he doesn't have a sophomore slump. The Texans even today signed Ronald Darby, formerly of the Jaguars, to add some depth to that secondary room. They have the potential to be the best secondary in the league. How about the best defense in the league, though? How are you feeling about that?
I think it could be a little bit of both, Nick. I
Okay.
think you're not giving, D'Amico Ryan his credit, and that's not a bad thing. But because we're talking about the best, the very best, and when you look at this secondary, it starts with arguably the best cornerback in the NFL. You're definitely top two because you're an All-Pro
Mm-hmm.
in Derek Stingley. On the other side, you have Kamari Lassiter, who had a fantastic year one. Just they're not going to want to target Stingley. They're not going to want to target Kamari.
Yeah.
You had Kalen Bullock in year two having 3+ interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, year one, now entering year two. And then you're adding in CJ Gardner-Johnson, 6 interceptions with the Philadelphia Eagles. Just a dog. There's no other way to put it.
For sure.
He's going to be a leader in that locker room. He talks his stuff. He is not afraid to get in opposing players' faces. You saw that one moment when he was with the Saints where he just got all right up in Tom Brady's grill and was just smiling at him. CJ Gardner-Johnson is a dog. And, we haven't talked about Jalen Petrie. If
Mm-hmm.
healthy, dude, it's going to be real scary. And that secondary, man, they're all locked up pretty much for the next 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So I think you might have one of the best secondaries in the NFL. I mean, maybe a top two because I know Philly has a strong young one as well. You look at your edge rushers, man. You got 2 double-digit sack guys. Not a lot of
Mm-hmm.
teams have that. And Will Anderson Jr. is only going to get better. If he didn't miss those couple of games, we might be talking about, a 14, 15 sack season for him. And I don't know, but there's some rumblings about maybe Daniil Hunter getting an extension. Dude,
I would do it.
top to bottom, and you talk and
Yeah.
you tie that in Aziz Al-Shaair,
Mm-hmm.
Christian Harris fully healthy. What does year 3 of Henry Tool look like, bro? It's hard not to think that this defense can be one of the best units in the NFL
Yeah.
because of, who was also calling plays, D'Amico Ryans. In year 1, the defense was good. In year 2, it got better.
Mm-hmm.
And now in year 3, you're adding in a healthy Jalen Petrie, a CJ Gardner-Johnson, a healthy Christian Harris. Ah, dude, I am excited for this
Yeah, for
defense.
sure. They're bringing back Mario Edwards Jr.
Mm.
Um,
Oh, they restructured Danico
restructured
Autry's deal.
Danico Autry's
Hey, and
deal.
if
Yeah.
he's healthy, man, he had 10 sacks
Yeah.
just 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, for sure.
And
And
his
he's
first
getting up
couple
there
of
in age,
games,
man.
he
But
put some pressures.
I don't know about you, Ruben, but I would be disappointed at the end of the season if this was not, at minimum, a top 5 defense. They'd
It's gonna
have to
have to
be.
be top 5.
Yeah, they have to be. I think the only thing that they're truly missing now that they've got the safety position short up is just an absolute dog at D tackle. And Mario Edwards Jr. has shown flashes of that. Danico Autry has shown flashes of that. Although, like I said, I think he's 35 years old now, which is younger than me, but in NFL years.
Settle Jr.
Yeah, Tim Settle Jr. for sure. I mean,
I like
they've got some bodies. They've got some guys who we talked about this multiple times. I think D'Amico Ryans in a perfect world would love to play defense the way the Philadelphia Eagles play it. You rush 4 guys and you let the rest of them sit back and just wait for a ball to come their way. And they're getting to the point where they can do that a little bit. They didn't blitz very much at all last season. And I think that is the ideal way that D'Amico Ryans would like to play. And I feel like the way that they're piecing this team together on the defensive side of the ball, they're getting closer and closer. What D'Amico Ryans has done in 2 years with a roster that didn't even really belong to him when he first got here has been amazing. And I feel like that's a good segue because moving to the offensive side of the ball, with all the moves that have been made this offseason so far and, during this free agency period, you and I probably still agree, and I think a lot of Houston Texans fans and media members who cover them are still looking at a glaring hole on the offensive side of the ball being the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason now is because we talked about last week, they traded away Tunsil. They cut Shaq Mason. This CJ Gardner-Johnson trade included Kenyon Green. So now you have the likes of Juice Scruggs, Jarrett Patterson, Blake Fisher, and some of the guys they recently signed, Laken Tomlinson, Ed Ingram. It's not anybody that's really making you excited right now at this very moment. My question is that do you feel like the panic that is going on about the offensive line right now, both with fans and media, is warranted as we stand here today?
I mean, I'm panicking. Like, if there is a ledge, I am right there and I'm ready to take a step off. I'm doing the Michael Jackson. How can I not be worried about CJ Stroud when he was just the second most sacked quarterback in the NFL? And now you traded away his best left tackle, and you're going to do a lot of reshuffling around the offensive line. The 2 guys you brought in to be your starters in Laken Tomlinson and Ed Ingram, they were just as bad as Kenyon Green. So instead of 1 Kenyon Green starting, now you got 2 of them at right and left guard. And then you have Blake Fisher in you too. I wish him the very best. I think there wasn't a difference between him and Titus Howard. So I'm going, with the rookie at right tackle. And Titus Howard, man, left tackle, where he was at Alabama State all the years ago. That's why we took him in the first round late.
Yeah.
He gets his opportunity to show out. He gets his opportunity to potentially earn himself more money in the future, right? If he goes to left tackle and is is reliable, then hey, good job, Tyler. And now we could talk about a contract extension.
Yeah.
There is a lot of want on this offensive line. I want a center. I want 2 guards. Hell, I want a left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of needs, and if you would have brought in a Kevin Zeitler, I would have felt a hell of a lot better about this O-line. But he goes to Tennessee on a 1-year, $90 million deal. He wants to play with family. I'm never gonna get. With near his family, and I'm never gonna get mad at someone who wants to be near family, especially 34, 35 years old.
Of course,
you're gonna have to hit on Laken.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to hit on Ed Ingram, and you're gonna have to hit with whoever you select in the draft. And let me not say have to hit. You need to hit in this, in this upcoming draft, because if CJ Stroud is once again top 5 in sacks, we're not going nowhere.
Yeah.
You saw what the Philadelphia Eagles did to Patrick Mahomes and the pressure he faced that night. CJ Stroud faced more pressure the entire year.
100%, man. Yeah. Let me tell you the reason I'm not necessarily as panicked as you and other people are.
I just feel like y'all hated Tunsil so much, man. That's why that's and
it's not just
like that's
that.
a big part of it because of the false starts and the penalties. But let me say this: for as short as y'all's leash was for Laramie Tunsil, you better keep that same energy for Titus Howard, because once we start seeing, the mess ups, first sack from the left side, Houston's gonna go crazy.
Yeah. No, 100%. This is why I'm not as panicked as everyone else. It has nothing to do. I don't have any ill will towards Laramie Tunsil. I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he's a bad teammate. I've said this on record multiple times. I don't think he was necessarily a D'Amico Ryans type of guy. And I said that his contract, it just made sense to do what they did. But I've also been on record saying that I think that this is a downgrade for this season. Obviously, that wasn't a move to make them stronger on the offensive line this season. It was a move for the future. It helped you free up some money so you could, sign Derek Stingley to these extensions. You have other extensions coming up. The reason I'm not panicked is I don't think that the way the roster is written today is how we're going to go into week 1, especially how it's going to look come, week 12, 13. I just think there's more work.
About the O-line though. So
no, I'm talking about the O-line too.
Okay, so what move, what
you're going to draft at least 2, right?
And are they starting for you?
You certainly hope so. I certainly hope so. Especially if you have to move up in the first round to get a guy.
Starting rookies is insane.
It is. No, don't get me wrong. And we talked about that last week. There is a risk with doing that. But I just want to repeat this one more time. And this offensive line was terrible last year. The offensive line consisted of Laramie Tunsil. It consisted of Shaq Mason. It consisted of multiple weeks of Kenyon Green. And you and I did this show every week, and we complained about it, and we said, do something, get them MFs out of there. And that's exactly what D'Amico Ryans did. And now,
I didn't say get Tunsil out of there.
No, you didn't. You didn't. No, I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, what I'm
context is the people that they replaced them with is garbage. You can't replace me. You can't replace Shaq Mason and replace Kenyon Green and give me two other Kenyon Greens and say it's gonna work.
That's why I'm not convinced that that's the last move. I don't know that Laken Tomlinson isn't just depth. I don't know that Ed Ingram isn't just depth. I mean, you signed him to what, 1 year, $5 million? 1 year, $5 million is not a lot. You're signing special teams guys for that much at this day and age in the NFL. So what I'm saying is I'm not completely convinced that, maybe that they are starting week 1. Are they starting week 12, 13? That I'm not convinced of. And at this point, until D'Amico Ryans and Nick Casario, now Nick Casario in the past has given us some reason to doubt him, but I'm just going to trust the process, man. Because the one thing we said we wanted to see them do is not stay pat and not say, hey, we're just going to run this thing back. We got a new offensive line coach. We got a new offensive coordinator. He can coach these guys up. They saw a problem and they decided, hey, it's time to cut it off right now. And I think it's going to hurt a little bit initially, but I think in the long run, it's going to be the right move. And that's the reason I'm not in full panic mode, because I'm kind of in that trust the process mode. Talk to me in week 5. We'll see how I feel about it then. Because
I'm just not getting that sense of urgency from you, and it's like, like you said, it's gonna get a bad, it's not gonna be good in the beginning. Well, when you're the second most sad quarterback in the NFL, there is worse. You could be the most sad quarterback in the NFL, but even if you get a little improvement, even if CJ Stroud is the 4th or 5th most sacked guy, that's still not good. That's still not like correct, because we've seen this with David Carr.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen this with Deshaun Watson, and we already saw one season of it with CJ Stroud. I understand a lot of people are very excited that Laramie Tunsil was gone and that, we are doing some work and revamping it exactly like we asked. What do you mean? A lot of people are happy.
No, I don't know if I'm happy. I understand it. Would I rather he be there? Yes, in a perfect world, if he can be there and you can still extend Stingley and you can shore up the rest of the line, yeah. At this point, I'd rather him be there. But I just don't think they're done. That's why I'm not completely tripping. Like, Tyron Smith is still out there, man. What do you think about him?
Oh my, no. Why do I want someone who can't be healthy?
That's what we used to say about Derek Stingley Jr. Now look at him.
Dude, Laramie Tunsil, you could rely on him to be there on Sunday.
That's true.
Also, how old is Tyron Smith?
34.
30-something?
34.
Yeah, come on. We're talking
1 year.
Derek Stingley.
1 year. He coaches up your new tackle that you're drafting in the first round. Hopefully Kelvin Banks Jr. or maybe Will Campbell. They're probably not getting Will Campbell. I don't know, man. All I'm saying is I don't think the way the depth chart reads today is the way they're going into week one. If we get into week one and this is the depth chart, then yeah, I'm gonna be a little bit more panicked like you are.
I just don't know what other moves you could get. And with Tyron Smith, he played 10 games this year,
Mhm.
played 13 last year, 4 the year before, 11 the year before that, 2 the year prior. I mean, we're not going to be able to rely on Tyron Smith to be there, and there's nothing else out there. There is nothing else out there unless you try to
Yeah.
pull off a Shaq Mason trade like you did a couple of years ago, trading a late round pick for him. But other than that, dude, this is what you
Yeah.
got.
You never know who's gonna get cut around, training camp time for not necessarily.
There is one person out there that I will want right now.
Who's that?
Garrett Bradbury, the center from the Minnesota Vikings that just got released right before we started this show.
Okay.
Now, are they going to try to do that? Probably not. I'm not sure why. If you want a cheap band-aid, that's exactly what Garrett Bradbury is. And you haven't had a starting center that you could really trust since Chris Myers.
I think
Every
they
year
believe
after
in
that,
Juice Scruggs, man. I really think they do.
and I just like you're playing like you're putting CJ Stroud at risk, and that's my main point. And this is at the end of the day the overall aspect of this conversation that I think people are not taking into consideration. You are putting CJ Stroud at risk,
Yeah.
and it's how like I don't even want to talk about him
Don't you
getting hurt, but
worry about a thing. It's gonna be all right, man.
you see, and I'm gonna be like, look, you were dancing and laughing your ass off, talking about, oh, we're
It's
gonna be
gonna be all
fine, and
right,
now look
bro.
at CJ.
Do you trust his coaching staff? Do you trust?
No, I don't trust. I don't trust the evaluation of the offensive line
Mm,
because when you had a first round pick, what did you do? Draft Kenyon Green and passed on someone like Tyler Lindenbaum, who was a Pro Bowl center for the Baltimore Ravens.
facts.
What
Facts.
offensive
D'Amico wasn't
line?
here then, though. Keep that in
Huh?
mind. D'Amico wasn't here then.
But that's a Nick Casario pick though.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, I just feel like they're trying to get D'Amico guys in there.
Juice
That's
Scruggs, second round. Is he going to work out?
he might. They seem
I
to
don't
like
know.
him.
It's year
He was
three.
pretty good in his first year. Maybe he just had a sophomore
No, he
slump.
wasn't. No, he
Okay,
was not.
can we at least agree on
He
this?
missed 8 games.
Can I get you to at least buy in on this? There's a possibility that the offensive line was so bad last season because the scheme was terrible.
I mean, okay,
It's
but that's just
possible.
I hope that with better coaching, it gets better. And you hope so.
Yeah.
Um,
We have to acknowledge that there's at least a possibility that could be the case.
but still, like he needs to get out of top 10 sack quarterback.
Yeah. Listen, man, nobody is screaming Super Bowl because of this offensive line. It's obviously the glaring weakness on this team still. And that's with a team that's missing, 2 really important wide receivers as well. So yeah, I get it. I get it. But I think
It's like I don't want to trade false starts for sacks.
oh
I
no,
don't
me
want
neither.
I don't because it sounds like that's what's going to end up happening, and I don't think a lot of people realize. Oh, yes, the false starts might get cut in half, but the sacks might double from that side.
We'll see, man.
I don't.
I'm just I
I
for
don't
me,
understand. I don't understand where a lot of people are getting this confidence from. But hey,
it's not
I'm happy to
necessarily
be. I'm
confidence.
happy to
What I'm
be
saying is
proven wrong, bro.
having Laramie Tunsil last season did not make your offensive line great. You had him, and he was still sacked as many times as he was sacked. So I don't think that you can
What was his
say
pressure rate though?
I don't think you can say
3%,
definitively.
4%.
No, I get it. I'm saying as a whole, though, you can't say definitively that having Laramie Tunsil on this team is automatically going to make the entire offensive line better. I just can't come to that. And I think when you consider how much money he was making, his age, what I perceive and some other people may have perceived to be lack of leadership, like I said, would I rather him be there in a perfect world? Yes. I'm not ready to jump off a bridge because he's gone yet. Like I said, talk to me in week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I just don't want to be in another situation where we got to send another team 2 first-round picks for their left tackle.
Yeah,
Because
I
what
feel
happened
you.
after Dwayne Brown was a rotating door.
Yeah.
And at one point, we even had the conversations of Matt Khalil starting at left tackle
Mhm.
for young Deshaun Watson. So I
All right, this is what we're gonna
if
do.
Nick Casario gets this right, bro, like no one should ever question his moves again, because this is a ballsy move. In year 3, when you're competing for Super Bowl, for your first ever division win to get to AFC Championship,
Yeah,
and you just saw how the Kansas City Chiefs got beat by their offensive line getting worked over, and you give away a a 5-time Pro Bowl left tackle in the name of culture, in the name of leadership. So I hope,
it was a
I
roll of the
pray.
dice. What if they take that draft capital that they acquired from the Laramie Tunsil trade, and they trade up and they grab the best left tackle in this draft, which I
So who
believe
is
the
the best left
consensus,
tackle? Because a
the
lot of people say it's
the con,
Kelvin Banks, but they think he's going to be a better guard.
I think the consensus is the best tackle they believe. So it's either going to be what, Will Campbell, Kelvin Banks Jr. I can't remember the other dude's name off top, but let's say they move up with that draft capital and they do the same. They have the same aggressiveness they had last season. They said, we know the guy we want. We're going to get him. Are you going to feel a little bit better?
Well, yeah, of course. If you want your guy, go get your guy. But then again, it's wait and see. There's no Joe Alt in this draft.
Right.
A
That's
lot of
fair.
people perceive this to be not a strong tackle class.
Okay.
So we'll wait and see. Like I said, it's just wait and see. But me, man, I'm very worried because I've seen this story before,
Yeah. Well, you know
and I
what,
just
man? If
and I
if it
just
goes
hope.
bad, we will mark this. We will come back to here and I will tell you, I will say, Ruben, back in episode whatever number it was that we forgot, you were right. The
But
Texans
I
were
don't want you to
silly.
say that, right? I want you to say, Ruben, you were overreacting.
Yeah. I
Like
hope I
you
can say
should have.
that.
Yeah, and that's the plan. I just. How do you think CJ Stroud felt when he saw Laramie Tunsil get traded?
Mm. We talked about that a little bit. Did they tell him? Did he have some input?
Mm.
I don't know. Um, I think CJ Stroud is a good teammate though, and I believe. I mean, he went to bat for that dog mess offensive line all season last year, even though he was getting his brains beat in. He said he believed in them, he trusted them, blah, blah, blah. I mean, maybe he was blowing smoke. I don't know. But I think he trusts his coach. I don't know if he trusts Nick Casario, but I know he trusts his coach. So we'll see what happens. Man. Like I said, I just don't think the way the roster reads today is the way it's going to read come week 1. And definitely by the end of the season, I think hopefully by the end of the season, you've drafted 1, if not 2 guys, and they've solidified themselves as starters. That's perfect scenario, right? On this offensive
Yeah.
line. Hopefully you've drafted a tackle and a guard that have, by the end of this season, established themselves as your permanent starters in that position. That's the only reason you do what you've done by completely overhauling this thing, is you're hoping that you are making room for your offensive line of the future. I'm going to wait and see before I get completely panicked, though, man. But I understand where you're coming from. And listen, I'm in the minority here. Most people are not excited about what's going on with the offensive line. If you listen to sports talk in this city, that is the number. People are excited about CJ Gardner-Johnson. They're excited that Derek Stingley is locked up, and they should be. Like, this defense is going to more than likely be nasty, bro. But the offensive line is still the glaring hole on this offense. And we're talking about that for what? The 3rd year in a row?
No, we've been talking about this for 20 plus years when it comes to the Houston Texans.
That's true. That's true. They haven't had a good offensive line since what? Mike Brizell, Dwayne Brown,
Eric Winston,
Eric
like that's what I'm
Winston.
saying. Like that's not lit.
Man, yeah, that was a long time ago, bro. That was what, 2011, 2010? Oof. Yeah, I
And
feel you,
since
bro.
then,
I feel
like,
you. But hey, it wasn't going to be the guys they had. So let's get them out of there and let's start building that offensive line of the future and see what happens. I'm a natural optimist, Ruben. I'm sorry. And I hope that there's some of you out
I've
there.
done this for so long,
Yeah,
and this season really, really, really broke me.
I feel you.
You know,
Real quick, how do you feel
so
about some of the smaller moves? Ronald Darby, Jacob Johnson, fullback.
yeah. Depth moves, I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
them. Veteran moves, leadership guys. Don't mind those moves whatsoever. But now I just need to see what you do about the draft. I mean, okay, so if they go out there and they trade for a Wyatt Teller, I'm back. Right?
Okay.
That's a good guard. Like
Yeah.
if you're subtracting something, you got to think that like you lost Laramie Tunsil, Shaq Mason, and I'll throw in Kenyon Green. And in return, you just got back 2 Kenyon Greens and Ed Ingram and Laken Tomlinson.
You also got a draft haul from
And you
getting
did
rid of
get a draft,
Tunsil.
but right now you don't know what
They're
they're
not going to
gonna
make
do.
those picks, man. I think they're going to use those picks to move up in the draft and get their guy. That's just my opinion. I have no insider information. Obviously, it just feels like the move.
If we get a Josh Simmons from Ohio State, have him be your left tackle, have
You can probably
Titus
get him
back
without
at left
moving.
guard.
You could
Huh?
probably get him at 25 too.
No, I don't think so. I think he's getting a lot of love.
You
Well,
think
the
so?
pro days are coming up, so we'll see how the draft falls.
Yeah.
But if you go Josh Simmons at left tackle, Titus at guard,
Let's do
Jared
that, Roop.
Patterson at center, um, you get another rookie, or like you let Laken Tomlinson and the rookie and Ed Ingram battle it out for right guard.
Yeah. I'll tell you
And then
what,
Blake
Ruben,
Fisher, your right tackle.
if you're down, let's do that next week. Let's take the time this week to study who's in the draft in the first round that the Rockets, that the Texans could take at tackle or guard. Come on, man. That they could take at guard or they could take at tackle. And next week, let's say definitively who we want that guy to be and what it's going to take. Are they going to have to move up? Can they sit at 25? Because I'll be honest with you, like I've watched some YouTube clips on these guys, but I haven't done really anything really in depth on these guys other than listen to what some of the other experts are saying. And we know how that goes. So yeah, I would be curious to see if we do that, how you're feeling about their odds of landing their guy in the draft next week when we come back to do this show. How you feel about that?
I like it. If you could give me like a couple, I'm trying to see. I'm doing a mock draft on Pro Football Sports Network, and I'm trying to see potentially who is there at 25. So
off the top of my head, I know that most people have Kelvin Banks gone by then.
Okay, so hey, you were right. Josh Simmons is there at 25. If I'm Houston,
you take him over Tyler Booker?
And dude, I'm taking a tackle over a guard any day of the week.
Okay.
Any day of the week, I'm taking a tackle over guard. Hell, I'm taking a good guard over a pro. I'm taking a good left tackle over a Pro Bowl guard.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And I think we should dig into that a little bit more. And then you said you're making a mock draft, or you're looking at one right now?
No. So I'm running it right now. So right now I'm about to hit the second round. I'm a couple of picks away from number 58. So at number 58, there's guys like Walter Nolan, their defensive tackle out of Ole Miss. Early in the draft process, they were talking about him being a first round guy. Well, look who's available. This guy named Jonah Savania. And he is a offensive tackle from Arizona. Now, he's projected to be a guard. Dude, if you give me Josh Simmons and Jonah Savanea 1 and 2, I'm back in. I apologize. I let Nick cook. And I'm excited for the season because now if those 2 picks works out, you got, 2 young guards on 2 rookie contracts. And I absolutely, wouldn't mind that whatsoever. And then you also have, 2 third-round picks. And if I took a tackle and a guard in my first 2 selections, with those 2 third rounds, I'm getting nasty. I'm getting a running back. I'm getting a wide receiver.
Okay. I'll tell you what, man. Let's do that. Let's actually do a mock draft next week. You are going to be Nick Casario. I will be the NFL commissioner. And you let me know who you're taking in the first 3 rounds with the first 4 picks that the Texans have. That sound good?
Nasty one.
Huh?
Yeah. I just did a nasty one right now.
All right, yeah. Well, let's not give it all away. We'll do it next week on the show. We'll do an actual mock draft where you tell me, as the GM of the Houston Texans, Mr. 713, who you're taking with the Texans' first 4 picks, and if you're going to be able to sit still, or are you going to use some of that draft capital to move up? So we're going to do that. You want to do that on your channel or on ESPN?
Oh, I mean, we can do it on both. I don't mind it.
Okay, cool. Well, then let's try to link up on Thursday to do your the video for your channel, and then we'll see you guys on ESPN once again next week on Tuesday at 7:30. For all of you who've watched this video thus far and who've been rocking with the Twin Toros, we appreciate you so much. Let me please remind you one more time. Go follow Ruben, 713 Houston Sportscast, 713 Houston Sports on X, 713 Houston Sportscast on IG, 713 Houston Sports on TikTok, YouTube. His links will be in the description, and you can find me at Houston Sports State of the Union Podcast. I will put my link tree in the description. I know you keep that Twitter buzzer going, man. Anything break while we're on the show?
I'm checking right now. No, but hey, Ruben, before you go, yes or no, are you bringing back Stephon Diggs on a 1-year cheap deal?
What's cheap?
1 year 12.
Yes, 1 year 12, I'll do it.
Okay, same. All right.
1 year 12, I'll do it. If he wants 15, 16, anything close, nah.
Hype.
Yeah, for sure.
Stephon and Christian Kirk.
That'd be nasty, bro. That'd be nasty. And you still got a chance to draft the guy too, man. So
I'm saying if you go tackle guard first 2, you got 2/3. You might get a little, you might get a Josh Beck at TCU. Who knows?
Yeah, man. Listen, that's why this roster's not set yet, man. Right now, like you said, let's let Nick cook the way we've been cooking on the Twin Toros podcast. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Ruben. It was fun doing this, man. We will see you guys next week. We'll see you on Ruben's channel come Thursday. In the meantime, we want you to stay 10 toes down for the H. We love you. Good night.